What's going on, everybody? So this video is going to be a little different. I want to give a quick update to my personal life, but also make this applicable for everybody as a word of encouragement, because as you probably assumed from the title of the video clicking on this, that this is applicable only for a small group of people, and that's true, and I will get to that in a second. But the one thing that I want to say holistically for the church is that we are in a season for which I believe God is exposing, He's tearing down, and He's rebuilding certain things. And as part of that, we have to do our part. We have to take up the calling God has given us, and we have to sow, we have to plant in this season. If we do that for kingdom purposes, He will bless it. And so I've been doing my hardest, my best to try to plant and to sow for kingdom things in this season. And so for me personally, as you guys have known and have seen in the last 3-4 years, I've transitioned heavily from going from a corporate sort of culture to a entrepreneurial type of thing. And so I'm starting new businesses, I'm starting new ventures, I'm spending more time within content and just other things. I have 2 people working for me. Various things are happening. And so it's very fast moving. And before I get to, the hard launch of something I want to talk about, I just want to say that there are things that are still happening behind the scenes for many things. And the first thing I want to say is just a blessing is that I've previously, and I'm just being honest and transparent, is that I've had a lot of ups and downs over the last 3-4 years. One of the things that I do often is I work just on my own, right? A lot of times in my own sort of way. And so that's something that I'm fighting a lot. And so one thing that I've done is that God had called me many years ago to start Instagram and TikTok. And so I delayed that for like 6 months. And because of that, there were things that happened and, various things. And I ultimately, in a begrudging way, started it. And I started it and it just took off in some sense. And because I saw that as, man, Lord, if I only would have started this 6 months before, how much more could you have used that? And so I saw that sort of as a warning in some sense. And so most recently, 2 months ago, I was called again to start a second YouTube channel. I thought that was crazy, right? And so, but it was so clear to me that within 3 days I obeyed. And now 2 months later, I'm sitting at like close to 30,000 subscribers. I get like 300, 500 new subscribers every single day. And so from the perspective of growth, that's faster than I've ever achieved for any other thing. And so I say that because praise and glory and honor, credit to God, but it's a testament to being obedient to the calling that God has given me, and also as a word of encouragement to you, because if you ignore what God has called for you in this season, you're going to miss out. You're going to miss out financially. You're going to miss out in whatever way that it's quantified, spiritual, behind the scenes, right? Unseen blessings, your treasure in heaven. Whatever that means for you, you have to fight your sin. You have to get rid of old ways, your fleshly ways, and take up spiritual arms and make sure that you are being obedient to God's calling in your life. And so I'm saying this because I've had a lot of things, a lot of ups and downs. And one down, or I don't want to say down in a terrible way, it's a growth process. But one thing that I've asked for a lot of your help on is this new business that I want to launch, One2Life. Now, it's been slow, it's been steady, it's been on a hiatus for certain periods, but it's still coming along. And so at some point in the near future, we're going to launch it. It's already soft launched with certain products on my site now, chrisyunstore.com. But I'm learning a lot of advertising, marketing, and various other things behind the scenes. And that's going to play into effect later on. And so for those that are wondering about, your contribution and your help to it, it's still moving along. You'll see it sometime in the future, but it's going slower than I would have wanted. And in the meantime, I've done various other things. I'm doing other things behind the scenes, trying to, make income and just kind of cash flow and other things. And that's moving along, God's providing. But I want to do something temporarily for which it was an answer to prayer that God had given me last night and through the morning today. And so I was in prayer this morning. God gave me just a very clear sort of direction to move for a temporary time. And you can also see this as, in some sense, a beta program, because I don't want to talk about this too much yet for the future, but there's going to be certain things that God is going to move me into that I can't announce yet. But as part of that, I want to open this up because it's a big supply and demand issue. So before people react, before people talk about prices and just all this stuff, you've got to realize that over the last several years, I've had numerous people come to me and saying, I will pay for you to talk to me. I want some advice, some perspective, your opinion, just to talk through things. Now, I'm not an expert in some sense in all these topics in the world, but I give a lot of sound wisdom, discernment, and advice. And I believe that it would be value adding, given that if you've listened to me over the years, you know how I speak and what I talk about, but there's another sort of side to it from the personal side, from the one-on-one side. I also come from the consulting background. In consulting, management consulting, strategy consulting, I've done that for many, many years. I worked in corporate. I got promoted numerous times and very good in that space. But even in that side, corporations and businesses, organizations, they pay a lot of money. We charge thousands of dollars even per hour for certain projects that we have, and people just pay, and we add value for that. And so I'm saying this because not only is there experience, but also a need, and you can even extend this to counseling, coaching, consulting, any kind of sort of services-based business for which it's one-on-one, personal training, things like that. But also, this is biblical. King Solomon in the Bible, he charged what they call a royal revenue, royal dowry, royal bounty. 1 Kings 10:14, 2 Chronicles 9:13, among other places, for which he charged kings and queens of the world to come to him to hear his wisdom. And so this is essentially consulting, counseling, right? Coaching in a nutshell. And so this type of model is very evident in many aspects of the services industry. And so what I want to do is I want to offer this for a limited time. And I'm saying limited because I don't want this to be a thing for which I've got to talk to like 200 people a week, right? That's just crazy, right? I know personally people that work in this business for which they see clients every week, and it's absolutely draining. And so I'm trying to avoid that. But I felt that the Lord allowed me temporarily to open this up to certain people that really, really can pay for it, really, really want it. And even if it's 20 people, 30 people, that's all that matters. This may not be applicable to a vast majority of you, and that's fine, because I don't want people scraping the bottom of their bank account trying to, salvage whatever they can to try to talk to me. If that's you, just please do not do that, because if you're not led by the Lord, don't do that. But for those that are in, maybe high net worth individuals, people that have the cash, businesses, organizations, or churches, if you want to speak to me, I want to open this up for you. And so the fee may differ. You can go to the website here on Calendly, have it linked below. Currently, it's at a certain price for a 30-minute session and a 1-hour session up until July 7th. And I've opened the calendar up very widely. I'm going to slowly start closing things off according to my schedule, as well as other people signing up. But there's in essence, a 14-hour window, because I know there's a lot of people in other countries and people that are willing to pay, right? They want to listen. They want to hear certain perspectives of where I stand. And I'm doing this really to serve others, to make sure that I can fill a need that I've, in some sense, ignored for a long time because of this whole nature of managing time and resources and supply and demand. And so it's live right now. You can schedule the booking. The caveat being that this is limited to certain topics. So I want to discuss anything that you would like in some sense, with the exception of pastoral, theological discussions, personal prophetic words, and other topics requiring extensive preparation time or research. But I'm experienced in many areas. If you want to talk about stewardship, your life calling, if you want to talk about business, career, motivational stuff, relationships even, decision-making, any crisis events. I do want to say with some caveat that I'm not a certified counselor. I'm not a certified in any sort of licensed way in that space. So I'm not going to talk in that setting, but just to be open about this being just, if you want to say life coaching, consulting, general consulting, or encouragement, or simply just a person to listen to. And so I want to offer that time to you, to those that really want it. So even if it's only a few people, and people have really wanted this for a long time, or if you came upon the title of this video, you don't even know me, but you need a perspective, then let me offer this. If you are interested, I'm going to open this link up right now. There may be packages I can have, but I'm only going to do this until the 7th of July. I may extend it if the demand is crazy, if there are extenuating circumstances. But for now, I'm trying to balance not having so many people, but also making sure that those that really need it and really can pay for it, they can spend this time and grab this time from me, because God has called me to more apostolic things, so big picture things, so building things, doing this, type of ministry where I can reach more people, but it's very hard for me to do very personalized things because my mentality is I want to go all in for whatever it is that I'm doing. And so for me to go all in on each person is going to be very difficult. And for a very long time, God has protected me from being in any organization. And I don't say this in any negative way, but he was wanting me to sort of build my own brand, my own business, my own self, and in some sense, a season of isolation to grow me, right? To change me so that I can be ready for whatever it is that I have in interacting with people. Because I've come from a background for which I've interacted with tons of people for a very long time. And then for a season, the last 3-4 years, he's isolated me. And so I'm going to open this up temporarily. And this may be a beta program or a springboard into something else for which I will announce at some point later on. And so with that, I want to also just say as a word of encouragement, many of you are stuck. And many of you are in a place for which God has called you. You have to step up. Don't be afraid. Be bold. Be able to charge whatever service you need to charge for whatever venture you are in. And if it's not monetary, if it's something else, if it's a mental hurdle, if it's a spiritual hurdle, whatever it is, you've got to get right with the Lord and you have to start doing it because it's free will. God has given us free will. It's up to us to take up that calling and to do it. And so love you guys. Be encouraged. God's going to bless it if it is for Him. If you're doing it with the right heart posture, He's going to give you more if you are good with what you have and you can steward what you already have. Love you guys. Talk to you guys very soon.